Inside PressBox is presented by Freedmont Mortgage. Don't make a 30-year mistake by choosing the wrong lender. Go to Freedmont.com now for all of your mortgage needs. And welcome to another edition of Inside PressBox. I'm your host, Stan the Fan Charles. And as you can see from the new cover of this month's PressBox, lacrosse season is here. And while he didn't pen our cover story on Navy's head coach Cindy Timchow and her unique coaching legacy, Todd McElwee is our main lacrosse writer, and he'll be in tonight to talk about his new lacrosse blog on PressBoxOnline.com. But first, there's a second Thursday in every month, but Baltimore sports fans have been enjoying a special second Thursday lunch for going on 25 years plus. The events are held every second Thursday at J. Patrick Saloon in South Baltimore on Andre Street. And here to talk about them is one of their most valued members and chairman, Lenny Miller. And Lenny, proud to call you a friend as well. We've known each other a good while. Lenny, tell us a little bit. We'll talk toward the end about why we're having you really on, but tell us a little bit about how Second Thursdays began.
Just a group of friends who decided to meet on a second Thursday. That was an absolute accident.
Right.
That it happened on a second Thursday. And they knew the owner well. The fellow's name is Joe Byrne.
Down at J. Patrick Saloon. Yep.
Still the current owner at J. Patrick's. And they decided that they were going to go down and have lunch every second Thursday.
And talk about sports.
These were Baltimore sports-oriented guys, people that are very familiar to most of your listeners. The names
Jim Lacey,
Vince Bagley, Bill Tanton, people who were
sports enthusiasts and somewhat involved in sports.
Very involved,
yes.
As you know. These guys were not only participants in the media,
right,
but they were also, Jim Lacey was a legend in the 40s playing at Loyola College. But they just met. It was very informal. They didn't have anything, any agenda or anything. Then they were joined.
And then when did it come up to the idea of, hey, let's try and get somebody a little bit more well-known than us? Like, let's get a Frank Cashin or a Harry Dalton or Rex Barney or something.
When people started to, when the group started to multiply.
Okay.
They started with maybe 4 or 5. There was a fellow named Len Mahoney who was involved. And it was a very congenial group, a very sports-oriented group, and they had known each other for many years. So when others were invited, the group grew to 10, and then 20, and then 25, and 30. And Vince Bagley got the idea that because of the growing of the majority of the group, let's get a speaker. And a speaker who would be well versed in different sports fields and so forth, and that's how it evolved. I started there, but I was taken down by a friend, and I started about 15 years ago. And Vince asked me to help with the speakers, and he had done it for quite a few years.
So run down a few of who has spoken there. I know. In just the time I've been down there, I mean, Keith Mills, myself, Peter Schmuck, Tom Davis, Ernie Tyler, before he passed away, was down there. But some people a little bit heavier clout than that.
It's a veritable who's who of Baltimore sports. Brooks Robinson has been there. Unitas has been there. Peter Angelos has been there.
Tom Matty
many times.
Yep.
Bruce Laird,
Artie Donovan,
Ordell Bracey, a lot of the Colts, and we have we don't pay anybody because we don't have a budget for it, but people were so anxious to do it because of the prestige of Vince Bagley. And when Vince would be calling people and say, hey, we'd like to see it,
nobody would turn down the dean.
Not the dean.
No.
Nobody would turn down.
So tell me what's happened. I was involved for trying to be the new Vince Bagley at getting guests before I did a daily radio show that started to conflict with that over on 1370 for a while. And now, while I'm not going back to work full-time for you on this, tell us a little bit what's happened to the event.
Well,
because it's run into some hard times.
Yes, it has, but I want to give you a little shout out, because Vince had come to me and said, I've done this for 20-some years. I'm a little tired of doing it, and I don't want the responsibility anymore. I'm getting up there. I just don't want to commit to the thing. Let's give it some thought and think of a person who would
do this for nothing.
And not only do it, but be great at it.
Right.
And you were our first and only thought. And you will recall that we had breakfast.
Yep.
And you had agreed to do it, and then you had to disinvolve yourself, because
right.
then you had gone on that show. So between you and our good friend George Henderson and myself, we have kept this going. Yes, we have gone on some hard times, and the reason for that is people are getting a little older. It's a little harder to go down all the way down to Locust Point, but the charm of the place is where it's been for many, many years. The
charm of the place and the charm of the event.
Yes.
So here's the point. We're under a minute now, but we ran a story in PressBox. You used to routinely have 80, 85 people. You were down in the 20s. We ran a story in the January issue.
Correct.
And how many people, saying it might come to an end, how many people responded this past February 12th?
81.
All right.
Which is a testimony to PressBox and you, because
here's the story we ran right here in our front row section.
It's clear to me that you, not being patronizing, but you get the lion's share of the credit. Now, what we want to do is keep it going.
Try and keep this momentum going, and that's why we had you on the show this week.
And I appreciate it, and I know everybody else does.
All right. We'll continue to spread the word about it, all right? Any help I can be.
March 8th.
March 8th.
The speaker will be
Snuffy Smith and Paul Baker on the NCAA tournament.
To talk about March Madness.
All right. Thank you, Lenny. Really appreciate you coming in.
My pleasure, Stan.
All right. Stay tuned. Up next, we're going to talk lacrosse with PressBox writer Todd McElwee. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Maroon PR is the leading sports and entertainment PR and marketing firm in the region. Now more than ever, they're a full-service firm that can handle all of your public relations branding and marketing needs. Visit maroonpr.com to learn more.